What is going on, guys? Welcome to Monday Bully Live. Let me quickly bring in my dude from the back, Michael Higginson. What is up, bro? Whoa.
There I am.
There you go, man. Sorry, man. I pressed the wrong button there for a second. Kyle, you can take over from here, man. So you already know, man, what this live is about, guys. We're going to be talking about quite a few things. So before we get started, let me just say this. Let me preface this. Hold on. Let me bring my mic in because I need y'all to listen to me loud and clear. I am not a geneticist, okay? I have literally for the past 7 to 10 days been working on this project because nobody has mapped specific pathways showing what they do, what turns them on, and what turns them off. I went ahead and did it. Now, I'm sure that, corporations have done it, and I'm sure if you pay thousands of dollars, they're going to give you access to it. But the fact of the matter is it's not freely or even easily accessible. Real quick, Kyle, have the sound ready. We have new member, Miss Sarah Jane Courtney.
Claro que sí, cabrón.
We're here every Monday at 7 PCST. Ronnie F already knows, man. You got to get that notebook ready, and you better get that hit that like button as well. We got Caveman up in here. We got Upling's Heart. What's up, everybody? God bless. Number love. Ray is Kennel. What's going on, man? Like always, Miss Shatry, Merry Christmas. Happy Christmas. All right, there you go. Big Beach, what up, what up? Adam Fields, good evening. And infamous Half a Die Bully fam, how y'all? We're doing good, man. Hope you're doing good all the way over there in Mariana Islands. So listen, I busted my tail, Mike. Busting my tail for 7 to 10 days. You already know because me and you, we've been talking about this, man. We've been talking about this. So I decided one of the things that I wanted to hit up first is bone, right? What pathways tell us whether a dog is going to be able to have, dense bone or not dense? What are the things that turn on those signals? What are the things that don't? And so in my studies or research or whatever you want to call it, I came across something called the WNT pathway. All right. The WNT pathway is a signaling cascade that plays a critical role in many biological processes, right, including embryonic development, cell proliferation, and self-renewal. And then over here, as you're seeing on the screen, it says here are some genes and variants in the WNT pathway that are relevant to dogs. And then they start just throwing them out in whatever crazy order. So believe it or not, that was one of the main obstacles when I first started in this particular mission. How do I identify exclusively, right, bone or genes that have to do with bone, whether it's to make it more dense, whether it's to make it less dense, whether it's, whatever. So
Raul, just to tie into what we talked about last week. So yeah, when we showed y'all these maps on the Embark, where we looked at the homozygosity and the heterozygosity of each one of those chromosomes with the orange stripes and all that. That's what he's talking about. Each one of these numbered chromosomes, he's been doing the work that it's been a grueling process, I guarantee, to actually map out which one of those chromosomes have which attributes. So there are certain ones that are tied to different types of bone, and so that's what it is that he's referring to.
This is correct. We're about to get into it right now, and I'm about to show it to you guys. But it's really important that we go line by line because, man, you guys are about to see how complex this actually can become. So I'm going to give you a first glance, right, at what I'm talking about. This is what the WNT pathway for bone and their markers, right? If you notice to the left, you have a gray number. That gray number is the chromosome that we're referring to, and it's 1 through 38. You will then see coloring. You can see red boxes, blue boxes, green boxes, yellow boxes, orange, purple. We're about to break all that down for you. But so you can have an idea, these are all the intricate places, and some of these are markers that actually turn off bone density, and some of these are markers that actually turn it on. I'm also going to get into nutritionally what you can do to actually get your dog to maximize its bone. We're going to get into that conversation here in a moment. Billy Watson says, Merry Christmas. DeWitt for Bullies. What's up, everyone? We got Freddie Strivia. Where's my notebook? Listen, I'm going to let y'all know right now, you're going to rewatch this live several times. Look, I'm still processing this whole thing. Again, I am not a geneticist. I am just somebody that is super motivated when it comes to genetics. Like I said, I put 10 days into this. One of the hardest parts about this is first started using AI. Then when I started cross-referencing, I started realizing AI was wrong. And so even though AI could speed certain processes, the fact that everything has been cross-referenced 3 times to make sure we're in the exact location, that's what's tedious about this process, right?
Yeah, that's the part AI wasn't capable of.
Yeah, for whatever reason, you got to realize, man, what's going on, Emilio Garcia? You got to realize with AI, as it gets better, you have access to people who have genetic PhDs. I will never equate to a genetic PhD, even with AI. But if I could get 70, 80% of that, that's just very powerful within itself, right? So that's where I'm hoping we can definitely we can definitely get there. Adam Field says he wants to know them all. He says only 38. Oh, you got to realize you got to multiply that by 2 because they come in pairs, right? So yeah, there's only 38 chromosomes, but I'm sorry, yeah, 38 chromosomes, but you got to realize you're getting one each from mom and dad. So let's go back and let me take you to a screen that's going to start making a little bit more sense. Because just showing you that it's here you go. Okay, so are you guys seeing the screen, Mike?
Yes.
Okay, are you able to see my arrow?
Yes.
Okay, the arrow is really, really important. So
if you're going to ask me if I have 5 million questions, the answer is also yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to start answering one question at a time, okay? Nice and slow. So if you notice, I have color-coded everything. So you have different boxes with different colors. The red box you're seeing up there in 14, 9, and 5, particularly 14. So what I've done is, if you notice, 14 has like a green border around it. I did that on purpose to show that this is the main one. Okay, so this particular WNT3A appears here, here, and here. But the main spot is right here on 14. Okay?
Gotcha.
So, yeah, so it's more complex than you think. It's not just, chromosome 14 and we're there. No, it appears here, it appears here, and it appears here. And I'm going to show you more and more how these things are intricate to each other. All right? Just give me a second. So here we go. With red, WNT3A, it promotes bone formation, regulates osteoblast, function WNT signaling pathway. Okay, promotes bone formation and regulates osteoblast function. If your dog's chromosomes, whenever you get the chromosome map, they better have something around here, homozygotic, that is. Otherwise, if they don't, you could have light bone, which is one of the things that people don't want in this particular breed. The next one coming up is going to be blue. And if you notice, blue here has a green border. So chromosome 20, even though you're seeing blue on 14 and blue here on 9, main one is over here on chromosome 20. And what it says is this is WNT5A. It is involved in the regulation of bone remodeling and influences osteoclast activity. So when you hear osteoblast and osteoclast, that is really important for bone formation, okay? Now, remember I told you guys I'm going to talk about the off and on switches, right? Okay, so the red and the blue says stimulation can occur through physical exercise, mechanical loading, while inflammation or certain cytokines or cytokines, however you pronounce it, can inhibit their expression. If you notice, red, which is WNT3A, appears in 14, 9, and 5, and WNT5A appears in 20, 14, and 9. So let's talk about this for a second. Basically, 3A and 5A stimulation can occur through physical exercise. Now, we need to talk about what we usually recommend for people to do and not do with their puppies, right? One of the things I strongly recommend is never have your puppies jumping because they could jar the bones, and the bones still, their bone plates haven't healed. Therefore, you don't want that bone being remodeled or anything shifting. But notice what this says. Stimulation can occur through physical exercise and mechanical loading. I'm going to make it easy for you. Mechanical loading means the weight of the pup. Mechanical, right? Mechanical loading. So the puppy's moving and he weighs more. It's going to cause this gene to kind of stimulate and therefore bring in bone density, right? But, right, inflammation or certain cytokines. So basically, it's a loop. This is what we call a loop in medicine, right? So the dog will definitely, the dog gets girthy, the bone should become denser, right? As long as you have genetics behind it. And it will become denser as long as there is no inflammation. So how do we get to inflammation, Mike? What makes you think what makes you think of inflammation? What's the first thing that comes to your head?
First things that come to my mind off the bat would be nutrition, and also I would say, being careful with the puppy's joints, jumping down off of things, putting added strain and pressure on those joints before they're formed, before those bone plates are sealed. But I would say probably mainly nutrition. Okay,
but that's not what I'm asking you.
Okay.
What I'm asking you, let me answer this real quick. Adam Fields is saying, what genetic tests are you using in this illustration? Last week, I told you guys I would be using Embark, and I suggest we all use Embark so we're all on the same page, because I'm going to be showing you guys what I'm going to do with this screen later on down in the live, and you're going to see what I'm talking about. Mike, what I'm asking you is, if this is saying that your pup's bone are going to become denser through physical exercise and mechanical loading. So we beefed the puppy up a little bit, right? But while inflammation or certain cytokines can inhibit their expression, what does that mean to you?
That means if the dog has inflammation, it's going to get in the way. It's going to get in the way of the density growth of the bones.
What would cause inflammation in your mind? Would it be an injury? Would it be, maybe the puppy is weighing a little bit too much than it should?
Yeah, right? I would say so. Raul, I say we because I've been preaching it right along with you even before I was on here. But puppies' bone plates don't seal depending on the size of the dog. With the XLs, it's usually around 20 months, maybe even 22 to 24 months.
Yes.
And that's later in life than what people think. And so as they're raising their dogs, they're like, well, my dog's jumped off the couch and off the bed 1,000,000 times before he was 6 months old and he's fine. Well, yeah, but he's not fine. Also, it is inhibiting, on what his possible growth is.
You're hitting it on the head, but this is where I want to go with this. Right now, what I studied, what I researched, what I've gone into, in fact, I've also reached out to several scholars, several people that are geneticists, not me, people that got PhDs in this stuff. I want them to cross-reference what I did and tell me, am I there? Am I, what am I missing something, that sort of thing. But right. So far, the only thing, and I made it very specific, is bone that I studied. I didn't study muscle. I didn't study joints. But here's the beauty of the possibilities of what I'm going, from the rabbit hole that I'm going into. And that is that there are actually genes that can tell you whether a dog's joints are going to be real strong and tight and whether they're going to be loose. Now that's going to be another day when I tell you which genes that is. But right now we're exclusively talking on bone. But I love the fact of what
it's also saying that if you're exercising a dog right without straining them in the wrong ways, if they have the genetics to back it, that you can add to their bone density with doing that.
This is where I'm getting at, and you're absolutely right. Kyle, go ahead and take that off for just a second, man. I got you off guard. What I am going to do going forward, I typically keep my puppies really light to the point where people tell me, dude, your pups look more like pits than they look like bullies. I'm like, I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, throughout my breeding career, if you want to call it that, the majority of my dogs, they got straight feet up front for a reason. And that's because I don't like pushing them, to have extra weight when they don't need it. Right. But now I have made a pivot in my approach. And I said, we're going to breed dogs that are going to be heavier in bone, that are going to be thicker, that are going to have more bully-like features. I said this. I'm on record saying this. So now I read this and I think to myself, what if I allow my pups to cautiously gain a little bit more weight than what I usually keep them at? What if, and today, coincidentally, I have a little GPS thing you could buy on Amazon. I put it on their collar and it kind of tells me how much they run when I let them out. What if, I get an RC car or something and make sure every day when they go outside, they're running, I don't know, 1.5 miles, 2 miles. They're moving around 1.5 miles, 2 miles. Would that necessarily be a negative, especially if it's low impact? Because an RC car is not going to make you jump. You're just going to run, right? Or move around or whatever, or chase it and play with it or whatever, right? So this is just food for thought, right? That's just food for thought. Going forward, I'm definitely going to test many of these theories.
This is one of the things that I love about your show, Raul, and I always have, is for anybody that doesn't know or hasn't been here as long as I have, Raul speaks his truth, and as he learns and as he grows and walks his journey with these dogs, he's not afraid to make adjustments. Nobody knew everything starting out, and so as we learn, we evolve. And I've watched that happen right here on QBN, and that's a beautiful thing as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you, my brother. And that's the only thing I feel. My bad. I keep pressing the wrong button. That's the only thing I feel that I can offer, bro. It's my journey. And also, I adjust based on new information that's coming in. Right. You can't expect different results if you continue doing the same things, right? And also, if you stay in the same place, you got to realize one of the things I like about the bully community. Now, you've heard me say there's many negative things about the bully community I don't like. But there is one thing I really like, and that's competition. And so what you're not, if you feel you're going to stay in one place because you think you got to the mountaintop, well, guess what? They just discovered another mountain that's 3 times bigger than the one that you're at. So you better be constantly evolving. And that's what we're doing here. Let me go ahead and bring this up, and let me show you guys. Here we go. There we go. So let me go ahead and jump in there, and let me show you guys directly the next coloring. So the next coloring is something called the LRP5. Now, if you saw the thumbnail, you saw that I was talking about chromosome 18, right? And that's exactly where LRP5, if you look up here, you notice it's green and it's got a black border. Which means no, it doesn't mean anything. I was getting ready to say that there's another place, but no, it only appears in chromosome 18. So if you look at your dog's chromosome, check it out. LRP5 acts as a co-receptor in the WNT pathway, essential for osteoblast differentiation and bone density maintenance. For those of you that are wanting to have dogs with bone, it's really important that you have homozygosity here in this area. If you could have it, if you're going to breed that dog, if your dog already has it here on chromosome 18, you want to make sure you're breeding to another dog that also has it. Now, let me just say this. There's many ways to skin a cat. As you can see, some of these actually appear in 2 and 3 different places. So if they don't appear in one of those places, whenever they are appearing in 3, it's not the end of the world. But this one in particular, I have a strong inkling that you really want homozygosity in that area, because if you notice, it only appears in chromosome 18. There's no other green anywhere, right? And this one right here, LRP5, acts as the co-receptor in the WNT pathway, essential for osteoblast differentiation and bone density maintenance. I mean, it doesn't get more precise on its wording than here. Let's move over to the next one. And this one is the one that appears on 27. And this one is LRP5's brother, LRP6. Says functions similarly to LRP5, facilitating WNT signaling that promotes bone formation and regulates osteocyte activity. Okay? Osteocyte. Anything that says osteo means bone, and cyte is where the cell's being made. So osteocyte is where the bone's being made. This pretty much is letting you know LRP5, LRP6 are on chromosome 18 and chromosome 27.
So let me see if I can catch us up right here with what we're on, right? So we've got a couple different things happening. We've got the dog you would add weight to the puppy to like heavier than what we used to do to have more weight on the dog, and that would stimulate bone growth. And if the dogs have the green and the purple here, and they have homozygosity from having a higher COI and have homozygosity in the right places, and they have it in these windows on 18 and 27, right here where the green and purple is, then having that extra weight on them, stimulating the bone growth would help activate this. So that would mean the dog had the genetics to activate, and that the extra weight could pull it in that direction.
Correct. But there is the one thing that shuts it off immediately. Inflammation. Right? So you grab that pup and you're running the living hell out of him or her, and you went a little too far in putting weight on them, right? Then at that point, rather than it becoming denser, you just shut the gene down from creating denser bone. So this is why I was saying feeding and nutrition plays a huge role in this.
Yes.
Huge role, right? Particularly two things.
Zinc.
First thing, what's that?
Is it zinc?
No, not zinc and copper, even though we're going to get to that here in a minute. But no, the first thing is one of the things that's going to help with anti-inflammatory response. Things like adding turmeric to the food, sardines, right? That omega-3, omega-6 also helps with anti-inflammation, right? These things are really needed. But also, if you notice, the bone, just like the muscle and tendons and everything else, is being broken down and being rebuilt. You guys might not know this, but every 7 years, us as humans, for the exception of the cells that do not reproduce, like, say, brain cells, heart cells, we pretty much shed the entire body and recreate it over a 7-year time period, right? This is why we age and all that good stuff, while we're in the process. Vitamin C is numero uno when it comes to your body replenishing itself and repairing itself. And that's one of the reasons why ever since I started using NuVet, I started seeing improvement, right? It's because whether you like it or not, you're also, believe it or not, stimulating these genes because you're making these vitamins that help replenish available. So these genes, the body has a loop. I already showed you the loop. It says, go ahead and add, basically it's saying add a little bit more weight because mechanical weight is going to make the bone more dense. But if you go a little too far and the inflammation, there's an inflammation response, the genes will go from turning on to shutting down. So you want to give the dog a particular nutrient that's going to reduce the inflammatory response so it could keep that gene on to keep that bone dense. You see where I'm getting at?
Right.
So I'm telling you, man, this is a rabbit.
Kind of like protein activates the growth hormone.
Kind of like protein and fat. Protein and fat activate, they activate the growth hormone. Exactly. Exactly.
That's switch on. This is turning the bone switch on.
Yes, absolutely. So you definitely want to add a little weight on the dog, on the pup, and you definitely want to exercise them, but you never want to go overboard because you're going to cause inflammation and everything you built is pretty much going to stop. But check it out. It doesn't only stop there. Let me show you this. LRP5 and LRP6, nutritional factors. Listen to this. Such as calcium and vitamin D. We go back to NuVet, right? What does it say here? It says phosphorus, potassium, zinc, calcium, selenium, right? So check it out. It says such as calcium and vitamin D can stimulate these genes, whereas high levels of sclerostin produced by the SOST gene can inhibit their activity. All right. So this is big. This is big. This is outside. This is outside of the inflammation. Okay. This is something that's being produced by the SOST gene. So, Mike, give me a number from 1 to 38. Take a guess where the SOST gene is. Just take a guess.
9.
Huh?
9.
Okay. Well, that's one hell of a guess. I'll tell you that, because that's exactly where it's at. If you notice here, this right here is red, which goes to the WNT3A. And this here is blue, which is part of the WNT5A. Right next to it is the SOST gene right here. So if you have a dog who's homozygotic on gene 9, you want him to be homozygotic all the way up to here. You don't want him to be homozygotic over the SOST gene, because this gene, when activated, can shut everything down like inflammation can.
So for those that have looked at a few of these genetic maps, and over the last few weeks, I've talked to a lot of people that have looked at their own embarks and kind of seeing where their dog's at. I've been having people send me a lot of screenshots of, the maps that are on their embark and saying like, what's this, what's that? We're talking about some different things. So if you're just looking at your own, you're telling yourself like, oh, this homozygosity, these orange streaks are just in random places and it's different on every embark, but it's not random at all. And it's specific to that dog. And then when you breed that dog with another dog, they grow each other in the places that they have homozygosity, and it can either grow in the right or the wrong.
They can grow. We don't know. We still haven't figured out the recombination part. But obviously, if you have two dogs that have homozygosity in the areas that we're talking about that are, good for bone growth, obviously you're improving your odds. Right. Let me show you guys something. I think you're going to find interesting. I went ahead and did this, which here you can see the chromosome mapping we did. And here is actually a dog's DNA. One of my dogs, I'm not going to say if it's a past, present, or any of that. There you go. When you map a dog's DNA over the mapping that I showed you guys, right? This is the mapping I'm showing you guys. I'm mapping the dog's DNA right over it. Now you're able to tell whether your dog has homozygosity in the exact areas you need. For example, this dog, if you go to chromosome 18, you're going to notice that on the green, it's got marking. It's got homozygosity in the green. However, when you go down to chromosome 27, it's not in the purple. Right?
Right.
The same could be held true with the WNT5. If you go to chromosome number 20, this dog has 2 homozygotic bands inside of the square. It doesn't fill the whole square. They're both on either end, but they're there, right?
Right.
So just giving you guys, I'm having so much fun, believe it or not, because now I'm using this map, right, to look at future studs to line up to bitches. Because
if you were looking at studs and looking at their maps, you would be looking to find one that had it in the places that this dog doesn't have it. Like
Exactly. Bingo. A good male would be a male that shows that he's got 27. But I got to tell you something else, Mike.
Because I mean, 20 as well, too, right?
Sure. But there's still more in this. There's still more on this map we haven't even gotten over, because the beauty of this map is there's good things that we're talking about now, right? On chromosome 18 and 27. But as we get further to the understanding, if you notice, look at her chromosome 28. You see how it's homozygotic with that yellow? We need to find out what that yellow is before, we're done with
a warning color in nature, Raul.
This stuff is. Huh?
Yellow's a warning color in nature.
Hazard.
Right.
Oh, man. No, man, let me tell you guys, I enjoy this stuff. It is, man, I just truly enjoy it. Thank you so much, Shade Tree. Number love. Inserata saying, okay, I found the map. It's under detailed health report. That is correct. Health report is where you're going to be able to find that map. Also, guys, this particular map, don't worry about taking a screenshot and matching it up. As soon as we're done with this live, I'm going to make it accessible on the QBN app. It is absolutely free. You're going to be able to go there, get it, and then you're going to be able to line it up a lot easier. Trust me on that. All right. So, yeah, let me go ahead and man. I mean, that's what this. Oh, hold up, man. Yes, sir.
Hey, let me ask you though, brother. Is this the colored chart right here? Is that what Embark shows, or does it just show the orange and yellow?
Just shows the orange and
Embark.
The orange and white is okay. So this right here is what I studied on. This right here, what I just added, that orange and gray, that's what Embark gives you, but they don't give you these different colorations. That's the work I put in right there.
That's what I thought. So it doesn't depend on where it falls on that line.
Absolutely. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Okay, that's what I was curious about, because you're not going to see these colors. So how do you know what's what if it's just orange that you see?
Well, that's
it would have to be depending on where you're at on that line, whether it's all the way on the right, whether it's all the way on the left.
Yeah,
the
we're gonna make this that you're seeing on the screen accessible, and then they're gonna be able to take a screenshot of what Embark is telling them their dog is. And they could. What is it called? Impose. I forget what it's called. You could put it right on top and then just make it less, reduce the opacity. And next thing you know, you're going to be able to see exactly what I'm looking at right here.
Mm-hmm. The trick is figuring out.
Now you really know, at least bone, as far as bone, by the time we finish the explanation, because I still got a lot more colors to go. You then know what your dog really has under the hood.
Yeah, because I'm sure that's what a lot of people were asking and wondering why theirs wasn't colored and theirs was just orange and white, which makes sense now because you're the one that put in the work to do all that. So really, you would have to know, you would have to go even further and do a lot of research to figure out if your dog doesn't fall all the way over here, what does this mean when it's all the way to the left or whatever? Or what does it mean when it's bigger or smaller?
Well, the thing is also, Kyle, there's many pathways. And that's why I'm explaining it the way I'm explaining it. Because if you notice, let me give you an example, Kyle. Look at number 20. See how it. Do you see it?
You cut out. Yeah, but I see number 20.
Okay, look at number 20. Do you see that it's got the color blue?
Yep.
Okay, look at number 14. Do you see the color blue there?
Yep.
Do you see number 9? Do you see the color blue there?
Okay.
Okay, so that's my point. There's many ways to skin a cat. You may not have, let's take a look at this dog, for example. This dog, look at number 20. She's got homozygosity on 2 bands, 2 smaller bands inside of the blue square on number 20.
Yeah.
But she has no bands on number 14, and she has no bands hitting number 9. So her ability to produce
the small one all the way to the right, but it's not. I see what you're saying.
Well, what he's saying is it doesn't fall in the sweet spot where the blue is, and in order to add bone to the dog, it's
got to fall in the sweet spots.
Yeah, the more it falls in these sweet spots where he's got color-coded blue, the more chance the dog has.
The better. The more homozygosity you fall on the sweet spot, the better. But say she didn't have homozygosity on 20, but say she had it on 14, we can still have bone. Or she didn't have it on 20 or 14, but she has it on 9, on the blue square on 9, we can still have bone. So there's many ways to skin a cat. I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, I'm just asking a question that I know the layman would ask. I'm asking you questions that I know that these people are thinking, like, well, what is that? How does this make sense? And the blue and all that. I just wanted to put that out there so they have a better understanding. Because even in my head, I was thinking, what the hell? Because Adam had sent me the orange ones on Embark, and I was like, well, that don't even look nothing like what he's doing. And I was like, yeah, we got to clear this up before people go to Embark and they start saying, hey, wait a minute.
So Raul, for those people that haven't been here, that, you know, we have some new people on here tonight, people that maybe haven't had a chance to watch the live from last week where we started talking about this stuff. Can we do like a quick summary of what hetero and homozygosity is and how that's brought into the dog? And then, you know, and then that'll help them understand when they look at that chart, what exactly they're looking at in case they weren't here.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me go ahead and change screens here real quick so I can show you guys. Thanks for bringing that up, man. I'll simplify it. That way we could all be on the same page. All right. So let me go to my girl Aruba. She's been retired. By the way, if you guys are trying to find your dog's chromosome map, better yet, genetic map, and you have Embark, click on summary, view summary, click on health, scroll down to where it says genetic diversity, click on that, scroll down till you see the little bars. Okay. So let me give you guys an example. My girl Aruba, let me go back to homozygosity and heterozygosity. So
before you say how they get it, say what they are with the identical pairs in the
Homo means same. So homozygosity means one gene comes from mom and one gene comes from dad, and they're both the same. Hetero
that will be the orange that you see on this chart.
Homozygosity is represented as the orange bars on this chart.
Right.
If you notice, there's another color, and it's that light gray, right? That is showing you the length of the chromosome. That light gray does not mean there's nothing there. What that means is that area is dominated by heterozygotic, meaning mom gave a gene that looked like this and dad gave a different gene. So different is hetero. Homo means the same. So homo is orange on this map and hetero is gray on this map.
And so the reason why there's more orange on this than the last one we looked at is because her COI is higher because she is a line bred dog. And for those of y'all that don't know, if you're looking at your dog's Embark map, is what we call this, and there's a lot less orange on it than this, then your dog is an outcross, meaning the mom and dad are not related. They are not akin to each other, and you're bringing two different bloods together. The more the dogs are actually kin, the more you'll see orange on this map, which is a higher level of homozygotic pairs. And those homozygotic pairs are genes that come from mom and genes that come from dad, and make that homozygosity that's viewed as the orange on the chart, just for people that didn't know.
That is correct. I'm willing to bet, for example, if you were to look on this particular genomic gene map that we're looking at here, if you were to look at number 12 and number 2, if you notice, she has the longer bands on 2 and 12. She's got 3 bands, but she's got like 2 pretty good sized bands in there. I'm willing to bet that those were homozygotic pairs coming from parents. I'm willing to bet.
So what you're saying is mom had homozygosity already there and dad had homozygosity already there. And when they bred and made her, it made the longer straight across band, the solid piece of orange there.
Yes.
That you see there in 2 and 12, and a little bit in maybe even in 14 and 11, possibly.
This is correct. The more you line breed, right? The more these lines are going to become longer. because certain pairs are going to coincide in certain places. I have seen dogs where, say, for example, chromosome 2 has orange all the way from one part of the bar all the way through. The entire bar is one big orange bar. What that's telling you is there's heavy homozygosity right there. And you're just not going to get there from one dog. You're going to get it from many dogs pairing together, right?
Yeah, well, dogs of the same lineage.
Correct, with the same lineage. That is correct. So let's test that theory while we're at it. And let me so this is Aruba. Let me see if I can find an Aruba. An Aruba, let's see. That's Aruba. Aruba daughter. This is Aruba's brother, half brother, Fireball. This is Aruba's outcrossed daughter, Athena. So look, right off the bat, Aruba's koi is 18. When we outcrossed her, her koi went down to 13. Right? Now, you remember
orange on the map, less homozygosity in her daughter than is in her because her daughter brought in a different dad, different blood.
Correct. But now remember that Aruba was heavy on 2 and 12, correct? Just remember those two numbers, 2 and 12. So let's go to her daughter, Athena. Even though she was outcrossed, let's take a look at what happened in chromosome 2 and chromosome 12.
Man, how cool is this?
I love it, man. This is stuff, here you go. Let's take a look. Look. She became more heterozygotic on chromosome 2. On chromosome 12, remember that one bar that was pretty big? That made it through, but the other ones didn't. Huh?
So that might have to do with whatever. So even though her dad was of different blood, he was an outcross breeding, he himself may have had homozygosity on 12, which allowed her to
heterozygosity because he had less orange. If you notice, Athena's orange on 12 is less than her mom's. And so on too. So that dog is more heterozygotic than Aruba was.
Right.
Yeah. Let me see if I can bring up another
even though he was because I think that's something that people miss. I really do. So like when you pull in these dogs and they're kin to each other, their homozygosity compiles.
Yes.
Whereas if they're not, it decreases. There will be less of a percentage in each gene, not in each gene, but each chromosome that's numbered there. I'm
trying to find your boy Pressure here. If you allow me, I would love to share his DNA.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
And show. Okay, so he's over here. This is Pressure. So I want to show you guys. Something.
Boy. Hey, look, y'all get to see him. He's going to be at Paul's in the Boot in Louisiana this coming weekend.
So this is Pressure's parents. She passed away. QB and Case Callie, right? She's over here. A koi of 18, and then we have Congo, who's got a koi of 9. Okay, but for all intents and purposes, she is a granddaughter to Aruba, and he's Aruba's son. Let's take a look at her. Actually, let's take a quick glance at his genetic makeup, right? Okay, and look, he's got.
When you see those low numbers on the COI, you can look at that right away and tell this is an outcross dog. There's no such thing as a 9 on a line bred dog or an inbred dog. There's no, and there's no such thing as a 20 on an outcross. It just unless things are way out of whack.
If you look at 2 is where he's most homozygotic, and I'm sure he's getting that from his mom Aruba. So let's take a look at Callie. Did I go too far?
No, she's
sometimes
at the
I get lost. Here she is. Here she is. So we take a look at Callie, right? And let's see if Callie was able to bring in heavy on 2 and 12. Okay, she's not heavy on 12, right? And she's got a little heaviness on 2, but all the way in the front. She's heavier on 14. So let's take a look at your boy Pressure, son to these 2 dogs, right? So here he is, Pressure James. I love the name, man. All right, and we're gonna go health, and we are here. And look, he's got barely nothing on 2, right? 14 got a little dispersed, but he's still solid. He's solid on 11. He's solid on 5. On 12, check him out, dude. He's got some of that solid that his grandmother had. What do you know?
I wonder if that what he's got in 18 falls in the right spot. And I wonder if what he has in 9 is across the bad spot.
It is falling there, even if partially it is falling there. Look at 24, man. He almost filled the entire chromosome of homozygosity. Has a lot of homozygosity on 20. Remember what we just said 20 was? Hold on. Yeah, Hollywood.
Oh, no, I was just saying in 5, too, has a lot. But I like how I was just saying, I like how y'all are breaking it down. It's actually, I'm sure people are having light bulb moments. If they're not watching this live, they're missing out.
For sure.
Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look at 20 here real quick. Let me go back to the original graph, right? Because I'm jumping around here.
It also looks
I'm loving this.
He has a little bit.
Check it out.
In the wrong spot.
Your boy has 20. He's solid on 20, which means this is a dog that's got WNT 5A involved in regulation of bone remodeling and influences osteoclast activity. Bone density. You want to know where you need to be at? These are the numbers: 14, 9, 5, 20, 14, and 9. And they're there for you, the red and the blue, right? Now, here's a really bad one. DKK1 inhibits WNT signaling. This stops the signaling, thereby regulating bone formation and preventing excessive bone density. Its expression can be stimulated by, here we go, inflammatory cytokines again, while WNT signaling itself can negatively regulate DKK1, which that's what we want. So inflammation is also gonna activate DKK1, which inhibits WNT signaling. We already said that WNT signaling is what's going to help you make dense bone, right? Again, inflammatory. So you can't overdo your dog, and you got to make sure that you got the right amount of vitamins, you have the right minerals, and you have anti-inflammatory things like turmeric or even omega-3s and omega-6s in there in order to not get this DKK1 activated, right? And this is in chromosome 26. So check it out. Chromosome 26. It's basically at the last, I want to say, anywhere between 85 to 90% of the gene, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at your boy on gene 26, Mike.
Is there a way to lay them over each other? Is that something that takes a minute? Or
I can't do it. I can't do it because your boy's embark is one place and another. I should have. I didn't know I was going to be using your boy as an example, to be honest with you. Had I known that, I would have. Yeah, I would have done everything and had it ready.
Wanted to say, Raul, my wife and I, as you know, we've been on this journey with juicing, man, and really learning about different vegetables and herbs that stimulate all the right things for us. And I learned that celery actually is a great anti-inflammatory. It really is. I'd say turmeric is probably the best one that we have available, but celery is up there, man. And it's a good
You
snack.
might want to do your research. You just got to do your research if dogs could eat it. And if you could add it, that's a very cheap way to make it anti-inflammatory. But check it out, bro. Your dog is heterozygotic in that area. That's a good thing.
Good.
You don't want homozygosity around here because that's homozygosity around DKK1, which we know will shut down what you got going on over here on 20 with that WNT3A.
So what I'm looking at here, I'm starting to familiarize myself with some of these sweet spots, and I have to look back and forth to be able to know for sure. But it looks like to me that where on 9 you had the blue and the red, and then it was actually red and then blue and then a little slice of white. That's a bad thing. I think he's got homozygosity in that little slice of white. So we can talk about that and what I need to do about that.
The SOST, I think he may have heterozygosity in that area.
I think he does.
Believe it or not, because if I bring up that screen, remember how it's red, then blue, and then it's got that little thin slice? Let me bring it up.
He's got homozygosity in the red, the blue, and the white.
So you see how you go. So I would dare to say the front 30% part of the gene, you're good. The problem is that 31 to 35% right there that's going to get you, right?
Yeah.
So let's take a look at your boy on chromosome 9. And let's wait a minute. Where's he at?
So in theory, if we're breeding a female to him, if she had less,
so we're talking. So, dude, I'm thinking your 35% is really close, bro. It's really close. I have a feeling. You see, I know they're not doing it now. I know with time as they evolve, you're going to be able to scroll over this, and I have a feeling it's going to tell you what it's exactly falling on or not. Right now, all I have to go off of, right? The only thing I have is to superimpose, this with my dog's genetic results. And that's why this makes life so much easier. Now you're looking at everything right there in front of you. You see what I'm saying? You can't miss a thing. Yeah. Well, let's finish. Let's see if we could finish everything that's going on with this screen. As we said, red is good, blue is good, right? We know stimulation occurs with physical exercise, mechanical loading, while inflammation can inhibit the expression, right?
Does that mean on the WNT3A and WNT5A that if I'm really mindful of pressures, inflammation, that white bar that's on 9 is not a threat?
No, and I'm going to tell you why. And that's because, look, LRP5, right? So let me just explain this to you. WNT and WNT3A and 5A, that's one pathway. LRP5, it's also, okay, let me rewind. They're all part of the WNT pathway, but LRP5 is a gene that acts directly as a co-receptor in the WNT pathway, essential for osteoblast differentiation and bone density maintenance.
So it's
and LRP6 is basically the same thing, but he's all the way on chromosome 27. LRP5 is in chromosome 18. But nutritional factors such as calcium and vitamin D can stimulate these genes, whereas high levels of sclerostin produced by the SOST gene can inhibit their activity. Okay, so that gene, I have to do my research as to what stimulates the SOST. It's not as simple as if I stop inflammation, does it stop? It's not that simple. It may very well, what may very well trigger a gene like this can be if the dog reached a particular age or the bone reached already its maximum expression. I don't know yet. Okay. But I don't want to go out there and say that if you don't have inflammation, you pretty much reduce the SOST gene. I don't want to say that. Now, we got to the DKK1 on chromosome 26. We know this is a bad one, right? You have homozygosity over this. It says inhibits WNT signaling, meaning what you're getting for 3A, 5A, LRP5, and LRP6, you're not going to get stimulation. This is blocking the stimulation. And what causes it, right? What causes the stimulation of this DKK1? Inflammatory cytokines. So inflammation is really one of the main things that's going to stop your dog's bone from becoming dense. Okay. The next one up we have is TCF7L2. It's a transcription factor that mediates WNT signaling, influences genes involved in bone metabolism. Its activity can be modulated by various signaling pathways, including the presence of WNT ligands, which stimulate it, and other pathways that may inhibit its function. This one I'm not too clear on. If you notice, it's giving you what stimulates it, and is being very vague, saying there's various pathways and there's other pathways that may inhibit it. Nonetheless, this particular gene can be found all the way over here on 28. Remember I showed you that one girl who I pulled her DNA sample? She actually has homozygosity right there, right? So I'm not done. I still got to do more research and find out. If you notice, there's more. You have axin 1 acts as a negative regulator. So it's not just inflammation. It's also DKK1 inflammation as well. And then axin 1 acts as a negative regulator of the WNT pathway, influencing osteoblast and osteoclast activity. Increased levels of WNT signaling can inhibit axin 1, while factors that promote degradation can lead to its increased expression. This is located on chromosome 6, right here, right? Pretty much right smack in the middle, give or take a degree. You have CTNNB1 encodes beta-catenin, a key player in the WNT signaling pathway that affects bone development and remodeling. Beta-catenin is stabilized in response to WNT signaling, while GSK3B activity can degrade it, thus inhibiting its function. Okay? And this is showing up over here on 23. Look at the tiny little piece of 23 of where it's at. So we know 28, possibly 28. We know for sure 23 and 6. We know for sure 6 is not a good spot to be in, right smack in the middle. And we got these two last ones. FZD1 functions as a receptor for WNT proteins, initiating signaling pathways that promote bone formation. Its expression can be enhanced by WNT ligands, while negative regulators of WNT signaling can decrease its activity. So chromosome 14, FZD1, is a good one. And it's this little pink one right here.
What that says at the end of that is that just like some of these other genes, if if you have any of these negative regulatory WNT signal for the inhibitors,
it's going to inhibit it. Yeah.
Right. So that would be inflammation would affect that as well.
Yes.
Okay.
But this is another place. You can not have it here or here or here or here or here or here. But if you got this covered, that's another pathway, right?
Okay.
And lastly, the GSK3B regulates the degradation of beta-catenin, right? We just talked about the beta-catenin in the CTNNB1, chromosome 23. It says regulates the degradation of beta-catenin. Its inhibition enhances WNT signaling and promotes bone formation. Inhibition of GSK3B can enhance WNT signaling, while increased activity of GSK3B can suppress the effects of WNT signaling. So, chromosome 33, right? We're looking at it right down here, almost about 80% of the way down, somewhere around there. Okay, so obviously, if your dog is homozygotic, say right here at 6, and it's homozygotic on 33, do you think it's going to allow all these other good ones that are trying to make down be able to do their role? The answer is no.
Yeah, absolutely not.
The answer is if they're super homozygotic on 33 and super homozygotic on 6, the odds are, again, we're talking genetics, right? There's many pathways. But the odds are that it's not going to fly.
That's so those are the switches that you were talking about.
Yeah, there's switches. Like inflammation is a switch that doesn't show up anywhere except for, chromosome 23. But the minute there's inflammation, everything gets shut down.
Yeah.
Right?
So kind of like in the color chart, before you get to looking at tan points in the A locus, you need to look at the K locus and see if you got black.
Yes.
So before when
it's all a relationship.
Yeah. Whenever you're looking at this genetic map, if you have the black in those areas on those chromosomes in 33 and 6, you might as well not look any further because you got blockers up.
Right. So look, this girl who I superimposed, that's the word. Look at her 6 and look at her 33.
Does she have a little spice on 33? It's hard to tell.
No, she's completely heterozygotic there. Okay. There's nothing on 33 and there's nothing on 6 in the middle. She's got nothing there.
Good.
Thank God. Thank God, because had she had it there, we have an issue. Now, she has something on 28, but remember 23 is the true negative one. And believe it or not, she has a space in 23 where that doesn't fall in. So this particular girl that I have, if you look at her 20, she's got heterozygosity on 20. She doesn't have a full-blown box in there, but she's got something in there. She has on 18, she has some homozygosity, right? So her pathway to bone is probably going to go through 20 and 18. That's not to say that, she's bred to a dog and he's super homozygotic on 5 and 14 and 9, that it wouldn't work. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is her pathways, what she can contribute is 18, right? She has it right where you need it. And she has some on 20.
So in pairing a dog for her, you would be looking for a male that has homozygosity in 9 and in the right place on 27 and maybe 5 or 14 as well.
And also possibly a male that has homozygosity in the same areas she has on 18 and 20.
Yeah.
Fill that up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Otherwise, you would lose some there.
Yeah. Now, if he doesn't have that there, but he has in those other areas you spoke about, that's not the worst thing because we can actually widen the amount of paths that we can get to bone. Now, there's something that I got to say, and that is it doesn't stop just at bone. So let's say we had dogs that had homozygosity exactly where we wanted it, and bone is going to be massive, right? I come to the conclusion, this dog is completely homozygotic in all these right places. Bone is going to be heavy. The other part of the equation is how much muscle is that dog going to carry? And in addition to that, even possibly more important is joints, ligaments, and cartilage. Because the more bone you got, the more ligaments, joints, and cartilage you need. So I'll give you an example. Today, I was coding for something that is really, really prevalent in our community. And that's, hold on a second. Let's see if I can find it. FGF4 is the gene. And what it is chondro, God, I forget the name of it off the top of my head. It's the let me find it. Let me find it so I can say it correctly. I don't want to say it wrong, man. Chondrodysplasia, right? So chondrodysplasia is pretty much what people in our community refer to as the midget gene, right? You're going to find it with a lot of pockets. You're going to see it with their paws. Remember I spoke about how this is the radial tendon and this is the ulnar tendon. And you have these dogs that the ulnar tendon does not grow as far as the radial. Therefore, the paws come out and the dog is always walking, looking that way. Well, I've identified chondroplasia. In fact, let me show you guys where it's at.
Is that dwarfism?
It is. It is dwarfism. Right. And it's in chromosome, believe it or not, it's in chromosome 18. And it's, let me see if I could bring this up so I could show you guys. Okay, it is on chromosome 18, and it's right next to the green, like literally right here, buddy. So you seen that female I just showed you guys? Let me take this down. Take a look at chromosome 18, and this is my female. Chromosome 18, remember, right next to it is that midget gene. And look where this girl has her homozygosity. Like, right to the right half of that. Thank God. Because if it would have gone just over to the left of that little rectangle.
Yeah. If it had been offset of that green in the opposite direction.
You see how that works?
Yeah, you definitely see a lot of that dwarfism in some of the smaller breeds, especially the micros. I think that's their biggest obstacle in that breed of dog is dwarfism. They deal with a lot of that. It gets in the way of their movement quite a bit. Pockets have a little bit too.
You want to hear something crazy about chondro? I always don't realize if I say it correctly. Chondrodysplasia. You know what's crazy about it? It's actually dominant. It's actually a dominant gene. All it takes is one parent to have it, and 50% of the litter is going to come up with it. At least that's the odds going in. And that's the scary part. Guys, this is pretty much it, man. I know it doesn't look like much, but the more understanding you guys have of what your dog is, and the more understanding of the stud you could bring to your dog based on these markers, you should have, in my opinion, it should lead to more success, more increase in the possibilities of the bone you're trying to gain. Now, like I said earlier, the other side of the coin, you don't just make a dog based on bone. There's tendons and soft tissue, cartilage, and that sort of thing that we haven't even gotten into. And once you see that picture, then you can start relating, okay, do I want more bone? Or how does my dog stack up with bone? How do they stack up with muscle? And how do they stack up with joints? Right? Pretty tedious. This is why I was telling you guys, it took me about 10 days to come up with this little map that at first glance, you're like, meh, that ain't nothing. But once you start doing this to it and you start making sense of the colors and you start realizing where everything goes, it's going to take you a couple times to look at it. But once you figure it out, man, this is the future of breeding right here, in my opinion.
It is, man. And it's the coolest thing ever to me. And I also can't wait to see one day, you know, the health variants and stuff will be in there too. And you'll be able to see, you know, like that'll be another factor to this. You know, you'll be looking at like, well, and you know, does the dog have variants and homozygosity in these genes in the wrong places when it comes to health? And then the other thing, this is how important it will be in the future to have embark and have dogs with a clean bill of health. That way, you know, that's one battle you don't have to die on. You know, one hill you don't have to die on.
No, definitely. Also, the beauty of this, Mike, is that I'm not waiting for embark to start coding for chondrodysplasia. I can do the research and I could find the areas at way before. And I'm not trying to be sarcastic about it. The information is there. It's just very tedious. It's a lot of cross-referencing because you're like, okay, if this, you know, very pronounced university is referencing this, so is this one, then, you know, you got 3 references of very high, it makes you very confident that what you're talking about is correct. Then you can look at something like chondrodysplasia, and could you imagine if you're a pot breeder and you know exactly where to look if there's chondrodysplasia there because your pocket doesn't have it? That's a game changer, bro. You could literally find yourself a male that doesn't have it, or if you have to breed a one because you couldn't find one, you know exactly which puppy's going to be carrying it and which won't. It's a game changer, bro. That's
a game changer, man.
It's a game changer. So,
or if you're what I was thinking about a minute ago, you know, if you're, let's say you've got this female and she's got a few boxes checked in the right places, got homozygosity in the right places, and you want to add a few things, and you're picking between studs. Well, you got 5 different studs to choose from. You got all their maps in front of you. You can really match up and make the best choice.
Here's the killer, bro. Here's the killer. You have this beefed up stud that everybody's cheering for over here, and you have this other stud that's maybe not as beefed up, but when you look at the embarks, he doesn't have chondrodysplasia, but this one does.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
That's it.
Now we're about to find out who really has the right dog.
Then also
because
you're
able to start. Yeah.
Oh,
now you're able to start saying things like, hey, you know what? If my dog doesn't have it in this area and that dog doesn't have it in that area, then we know that more than likely we're not going to produce dogs that have in that area. Once you have a litter and they don't have it in that area, now I'm going to tell you what people are going to start doing. They're going to start showing their genetic test, or at least that one chromosome. For example, chromosome 21 clear. And people are going to be like, what? Yeah, bro, that's where chondrodysplasia is at, or wherever it's at. I think I said 18. I'm mistaken. I said 21.
Yeah, it's next to the green box on 18.
Yeah, next to the green box. And you're like, you know, chromosome 18 clear. Oh, damn. No chondrodysplasia. Now your dog has value. Now your dog has value. Or I could care less what that high dog has. Your dog doesn't have chondrodysplasia at all. You have a very unique dog in your hands. You could charge more. Let me answer some of these questions, man, because I've been trying to get in the let me see. If I skipped your question, don't get mad, rewrite it, I'll answer it. Miss Christina Higginson, what do you know? She said, what does cottage cheese do for dogs when they have a growth pop? Okay, so cottage cheese is a slow processing protein called casein. For those of you that have done bodybuilding, you know that if you take casein before you go to sleep, you keep your body in an anabolic state, not in a catabolic state. Catabolic, so your body's constantly switching between anabolic, which is for growth, and catabolic, which is a breakdown of those proteins to amino acids. So it could either feed itself or fix itself, right? But if, say, you take 2 tablespoons of cottage cheese and you're going to sleep, say, 8 hours, it's going to take more than 8 hours for your body to process that. So while your body's processing that, it stays in an anabolic stage. It doesn't go into catabolicism or catabolic stage. So it doesn't break down. That's what cottage cheese does. And she also confirms that celery is safe for dogs. So there you have it. There you have it. That is one of many, right? Because you can do blueberries, you can do celery, you can do turmeric, you can do anything that a dog could take that's anti-inflammatory. And that's going to help. We already know that that's going to help the WNT pathway for dog bone density, right? We all learned that.
Sorry, we're lagging, buddy. We're lagging a little bit. I was going to say something else to add to that celery because we've been learning a lot about it in my house lately. So celery has a sodium crystal in it that it's actually the most complete version of an electrolyte available on Earth. There is nothing that you can consume, man or dog, that has a more complete electrolyte than a celery, which is amazing to me. I had no idea that it had that, but it actually has its own sodium crystal that is a more well-rounded, more complete version of an electrolyte than anything else you can get. So it's good for your dogs in more than one way.
Look at that, bro. You learn something every day, man. Kyle, real quick, have it ready, man, because Miss Shaytree gifted 1 kennel membership. Nothing but love, Miss Shaytree.
Claro que sí, cabrón.
Claro que sí, cabrón. We do this every Monday at 7 p.m. CST, and every now and then I'll pop my head out on Fridays and make it happen as well. Yeah, Miss Shaytree says thanks. She's learned. Oh, Hollywood's waving me down. Hey. He waves me down like a taxi. Taxi.
Hey, yo, over here. I should just hit my Hollywood button over here.
Yeah. Hollywood. There you go.
So, speaking on all these vitamins and nutrients and everything else, wouldn't NuVet help with some of these things, especially if you're lacking on your nutritional aspect of this?
Well, most definitely,
I mean, just
bro.
curious. Because it goes into with what somebody had asked. Somebody had asked, would it be wiser to do an embark later or early adulthood instead of doing it young, or does it not change?
I was going to get there, but thanks for skipping. No, you're good. Listen, it doesn't.
Well, it goes along with my NuVet. It goes along with my NuVet thing, because if you're taking that and you're getting the vitamins and stuff you need, will it change that? That's the only reason why I bring him up, because I started thinking about that. It will not
change your dog's
genes.
What I thought. Your dog's genes will not change from 1 year to the next. If your dog is born and it's blue, it's not going to be red in a year. All right. If anybody's telling you that they embarked the dog this year and the following year it changed, that's straight BS. They're pushing their agenda on you.
That's what I thought.
It doesn't happen. When you have a all black dog, he's going to be pretty much an all black dog to the very end. Maybe at the very end, you'll see he's starting to look a little bit more, a little grayish, maybe a little bit, right?
So to answer
your chromosomes,
you can embark a dog at any age.
And your chromosomes are going to be what your chromosomes are. That is it.
100%.
That's what I thought.
They're going to change, bro. They're going to change when the dog is old, like 8 or 9. But say you tested the dog at 3. By the time he's 5, nothing changed, bro.
Or a puppy. You know what you're going to be breeding when he turns 3.
You do a puppy between 1 and 5, whatever. Nothing's going to change, bro.
Exactly.
I go back to it, bro. All black dog is not going to change, bro. That black puppy's going to still be all black by the time he's 5.
But even beyond color, all the chromosomes that have to do with this bone and all this stuff, until they get to the age where they're senior citizens and
very
start
minimal.
to
Yeah, very minimal. People love to talk mutations to make themselves, seem smart
I don't
or whatever.
believe in that.
No,
I know why they're talking about it.
Mutations do happen, but they're minute, especially when the dog is in its prime. Now, when the dog is older, like getting really old, yes, that's when you're going to start seeing mutations here and there. And typically when a mutation happens, boop, there goes a tumor. 9 times out of 10, unfortunately, that's how that works, right? So just letting you guys know, the genes, I would suggest do it early, because this way if your dog is homozygotic in certain areas of bone density. Oh, man, I mean, you should be doing it anyways, but oh, man, let me get some UVET. Let me get some omega-3 fatty acids. Let me make sure my dog does not ever get into inflammation. Let me make sure I exercise him on a daily basis. Make sure we have a diet that is appropriate for him, and we can increase the weight just a little bit more, right? Because it says that mechanical exercise is what's going to increase the girth of the bone, right? Or the bone density. That's what it said, right? So you got to pivot. Look at me. I've always kept my dog super, 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 super thin. No more. Now I'm going to beef you up a little bit.
And it depends on where they fall out on the chromosomes too, depending on what you do with that dog. Wouldn't you say?
True, but also if you make your dog overweight as a pup and you run them,
that's horrible.
You're going to cause inflammation, which is going to undo everything you're trying to do.
Exactly.
So,
but anybody and everybody should be using a multivitamin like NuVet, no matter where your chromosomes stay, because it's for the overall health of your dog. That's
look,
like your
let me bring this up. Let me bring this up again, and look what this says. I mean, this is not me saying it. LRP5, LRP6. Do yourself a favor, guys. Don't just take my word for it. My best intentions are behind this study I did, but I'm not a geneticist. I made that very clear. So if you want to look it up, please, by all means, look it up. LRP5, LRP6, nutritional factors such as calcium. Well, what do you know? Calcium is a NuVet, right? And vitamin D. What does vitamin D do? It helps consume calcium, right? Well, what do you know? And then it says here it can stimulate these genes, whereas high levels of sclerostin produced by the SOST gene can inhibit their activity. And I already said that's in chromosome 9 right here. Right next to the good ones is the bad one. Same goes here. Right next to this good one right here, where I don't have anything right here, that's the bad one. That's that chondrodysplasia. That's the dwarfism gene.
Oh, it's right next to the good one.
One thing I want to do is I want to map muscle next, and then I want to map joints, and then I want to map all these things that are afflicting our breed, like chondrodysplasia. There's this other one that's got
people. They're already asking for it. They're like, man, you're going to do the muscle and tendons next and stuff. So
we're going to do it. We're going to do it. I already told you guys, don't worry about taking screenshots. As soon as we're done here, I'm going to put this on the QBN app. That's going to be free. I ain't going to lie to you. The other ones I'm going to do following, you're probably going to have to pay for them. It'll be something minimal, like $5 or $10, but it's definitely going to help you and help your breeding program.
Yeah, I agree, man. This is definitely going to help with everything. Any and everything you can do to further your breeding program, this is definitely going to help 100%.
Well, where it's going to be such a big deal at, and this is something that we haven't had a chance to talk about. What this is actually doing is, it's taking a lot of the guesswork out.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I was thinking about using this male. Well, when you're thinking and you're trying to make this decision, this is something you make that decision off of.
Yeah, and let's say,
sorry guys, I dropped out.
If you're playing the lottery and somebody said, hey, man, I got 3 out of 5 numbers. Would you like them? What are you going to tell them? No.
Yeah, right.
I want every chance I can, man. Give me all the info you can to make it better for me.
I was saying when you dropped out for a second, Raul, that what this is doing for people is taking the guesswork out. When you're trying to make your mind up about a breeding and you're weighing out the options here, this is taking out the guesswork, man, and that's priceless. Really, it is.
Even if we're able to take out guesswork on 2 or 3 things,
it's huge.
For me, it's completely worth it. If you're able to know that if you're pairing these 2 dogs together, you're going to get more bone, isn't that better than just going in there and guessing?
Hey, if we take out dwarfism, if we take out where people can identify dwarfism, that would make it worth it alone. Just that by itself.
I agree, man.
I'm not going to say anything.
Hey, we have a new member, Kyle. Can you get it ready?
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
Give me thumbs up, and I'm gonna bring them up. There you go, man. Heather,
I'm in front. Hey, I'm not in the back.
I'm messing with you, man. Yeah, Heather, let me hear it.
Pues claro que sí, cabrón.
That's it.
Cabrón, we do this every Monday, 7 p.m. CST. Kyle's just pulling your leg. We got number love for you, man. He's just messing with you, man. Dupree Anders, man, has anybody thought to get your dog embarked for a second time just to make sure it's accurate? I believe some people have said they have done it, and they have said that they have gotten different results. Here's the deal. People like to talk a lot out their ear. And unless you could show me the first embark and the second one, and even then I have to question, because maybe you did it wrong, maybe you swiped the wrong dog. I don't know, but I'll tell you this for sure. This is what I do know. Dogs do not change genes overnight. They don't do it over years.
I thought they were saying the only thing I heard people saying that was changed was when they did it in the I don't think they were talking about chromosome. I think they were talking about the breed itself. Sometimes they got it as 100% bully, and the other ones they got it was broke down so much pit, so much bulldog, so much whatever.
Bro?
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
Stud books are open. You can grab a Chihuahua and get it registered and breed it, and who cares? Right? Who cares if it says 50% pit and 50% bulldog? Who cares? At this stage, Freddie says, nowhere else can you find this kind of information on your dog. Only the best of knowledge from the best platform. Thank you. Doesn't seem enough. Thank you guys for everything. No, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. This is your channel. You guys dictate what goes on this channel and what topics we're going to cover. And what type of information you want us to share with you. Let me see here. I'm trying to find questions, guys, because I know I kind of skipped a little bit. Christina Higginson says, thanks, guys, for spending so much time doing your research and giving us all the info. Everyone like and share for them. Thank you. Nothing but love. Trust me, it was at first, I thought it was going to be easy. I even told Mike, oh, man, with AI, we're going to make this thing work. Yeah, AI was saying that the WNT3A was in chromosome 3. No, it's not in chromosome 3. So now's when you really got to start digging in to get all the right answers. Insurata says, isn't salmon, oil, fish, and sardines anti-inflammatory? That is correct. Omega-3, omega-6 fatty acids, they're high in those fatty acids, are going to help with inflammation. Christina says it's more than worth $5 or $10 because most of all of us do not have the time to devote that Raul has this week. He has spent more hours this week than most people spend on the 9-to-5 jobs. Miss Christina, you will be surprised. I put easily 60 hours into this to get it right, to get it as close to right as I can. Like I said, I've also reached out to genetic scholars. Hopefully they can get back to me, and if there's any changes or anything I got to do, then I'll go ahead and do it at that point. EBKC, but won't making these changes in breeding style give the impression of the breed changing its standard? Jokingly, I had to say, I'm not sure what he's referring to. Adam says, are they pea hanging embarks? What does that mean?
Paper hanging.
Paper hanging embarks.
Okay, so let me say something because you're laughing, but it's so true.
I know, believe me.
I'm going to let you guys know this. There's plenty of scammers out there that are going to sit there and talk me. We've all heard them and seen them. And, you know, they try to razzle dazzle and do whatever they can to cheat. I won't put it past them to swab one dog and claim it belongs to another dog, which one thing that I'm talking to Embark about right now is third-party testing. Kind of like when you get a new job and you got to go pee somewhere and their only function is to receive your pee and make sure it's you.
Yep.
I really feel like we really need that because once this cat is out the bag, there's a lot of dogs out there that people are going to stop using real quick. And these breeders, in order to keep you hooked, they're going to paper hang. Make no doubt about it. That's exactly what they're going to want to do. So that's why I'm already talking with Embark about third-party verification.
Well, that's how we got to our breed to begin with. So you think they won't do it with Embark? Of course they will. That's why a third party.
I'm going to further this. If you've seen people talking about, genetic testing is just for colors, this, that, and then out of nowhere, out of the blue, hey, here's my genetic test. Look, check it out. I genetic test too. Yeah, I would definitely want to get third-party verification on that cat. I'm gonna give it to you right now, because I already see that coming.
Oh yeah, people are going to do anything. I wanted to add something real quick, Raul. If for anybody that's unclear, this right here, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This right here is the future of dog breeding. And I'm going to tell y'all something. If you can't see it coming a mile away, it's here now. And we're within a year or two away, maybe 2 or 3 years at the most. You'll be able to read these Embark maps and you'll be able to understand the stuff that we're talking about today, and you'll have learned it or you will get left behind.
And hell, you can go back 3 or 4 years on this channel and see Raul's been speaking on genetics. Embark. Nobody wanted to do it. Embark. Now it's really starting to catch up, especially with those apps coming out with a lot of this different stuff too, just breaking down colors. It's coming.
Raul the same thing. They're going
to have the tools. They're going to have the tools that you're just going to be able to pop in your Embark, and you're going to pretty much tell where's what. And we're going to actually start breeding. I don't want to say actually start breeding because we've been breeding all along, but I'm just saying we're going to be able to breed with one of the best tools that breeding has ever been offered. By the way, real quick, Caveman just corrected me. Omega-3 reduces, omega-6 actually causes inflammation. And he's absolutely right. Caveman, thanks for correcting me. You're absolutely right about that. Yeah, guys, what's happening is this whole economic slowdown is, if you notice, is actually forcing breeders' hands. In other words, those that had dogs that were more on the fringes, once the economic activity slowed down, they couldn't sell dogs, especially not for what they were asking for at the time. But now, what's happening is only the top dogs or the middle of the pack to top dogs are the ones being bought. The ones on the fringe and below are not. So things like Embark and genetic testing, it's coming. It's going to happen.
Embark is a flashlight in the dark, man. Now, I don't see where anybody thinks they have a leg to stand on to say that you would rather go into a dark room than a room with the light on to see what's in it.
Well, the truth of the matter is,
it just doesn't make sense with the tools we have to not use it. It just doesn't.
The truth of the matter is this, man. We're all human beings, and I can tell you, man, as much as I'm open for Embark, I've told you guys several times I turned 50, and my wife reminds me every day how set in my ways I am. You know what I mean?
And you can, yeah.
She tries to explain, new options or whatever, but I'm kind of set in certain things. Like I like to make coffee with the old, that old metallic coffee maker. I don't want this
the French press
coffee machine that you put a little cup in and it produces coffee, right? That's just me, right? And some of us are just made that way, and that's fine too. But I think that once the tool is accessible, once people are able to go from here to here and know what they're looking at, it's going to revolutionize breeding overnight. And if you're not genetically testing your dogs, you're going to have a hard time even selling them at some point. I can see that happening, man.
Yeah, well, so especially for the prices, that these dogs are. That's the thing. Our breed, more than anything, it's going to be our breed more than any other breed because of the price.
I got a $5,000
You're never going to be able to sell it
with no embark test. I got a $5,000 dog with an embark test,
and all the tools you need.
And it shows no chondrodysplasia, and it's got homozygosity on 2 out of 3 bone areas. Who are you going to spend the money on?
I mean, come on, man.
That's what
I'm going to take my chances with somebody who already embarked those dogs because I embark all my dogs. Raul embarks all his dogs. Why wouldn't you go with somebody who embarks their dogs?
I embark everything I've got.
So
the percolator makes the best coffee. That's right. Yeah, you guys are right. And also a lot of breeders that are against genetic testing, when all of a sudden that wave hits you and now you want to change gears, people are going to be looking at you like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you never wanted to show embarks on your dogs. Now all of a sudden you want to show embark? Because the market kind of shifted on you,
man. It'd be hard to convince me that you're not hiding something. If you just won't do it, it's $150. And if you buy one of them, if you buy multiple, it's cheaper than that. You can't convince me. You've been breeding for 25 years and you've got 70 dogs and you don't want to embark test. You can't convince me of that.
You cannot convince me that you didn't embark test. What you're convincing me is that you embark tested and you don't want me
and
to
you
know
didn't like the results.
You're hiding the results. Right.
There's no way you're
like
selling $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 dogs and you're not. No, I'm not going to embark test because I'm a purist. That's straight BS. We all know it is.
Right. The technology,
there's no way.
This is the future.
Yeah, Inserata is saying the things that can change when retesting is all the new added health tests like copper accumulating or MCT. And this is true.
It's true.
This is true. But this is where ignorance kind of gets people sometimes to say, oh, I tested my dog when he was 1. And by the time he was 2, embark completely changed. His genetics changed. You're ignorant. Because the fact of the matter is, what she is talking about is that embark was able to identify the copper accumulating gene and MCT, but they were always there. That did not change, right? Yeah. The genes don't change like that.
Yeah, they're evolving too. They're learning new things. They're acquiring more of this information. They're mapping this stuff out. They're isolating genes and stuff the further they go.
To me, and I'm in contact with them, and they already told me they don't do custom testing. To me, if they did custom testing, they're not doing it now, but I have a feeling they will in the future. It would just be, again, it's going to come down to this and then that. And you'll know right off the bat what your dog has and doesn't have, and the dog you're breeding to, what they have and don't have. And I just feel that this is a game changer, man. Once we get this understanding under our belt, it's not going to be easy. EBKC says, off topic, a subject for later, but would like to talk about the subject of the use of studs that have multiple kills and consequences of people using and promoting that blood as quality, especially for multi-X that blood. Yeah. EBKC. Here's the deal, bro. I don't use my platform to spearhead against anyone. We all know in this community, there's plenty of people that have scammed and done many things. But even then, I will never use this platform to spearhead in that manner. What I will do, however, with this platform is educate you as best as I can so that you don't fall into these situations. But if you're impulsive, if you're in a hurry, if you don't want to learn, if you don't care, and if you go out and you use a stud like that, I'm sorry to say, but every consequence that comes in your direction is what you pretty much did for yourself. And so I understand that sometimes sitting on one of my lives that goes on, this one's what, an hour and 46 minutes? I get it. They're pretty long. And in today's day and age, everybody wants to flip through the shorts and get the dopamine hit. But if you really want to know what's going on with breeding, with genetic testing, and what's coming, you take the time and you watch it like this, and you consume it and you learn. If you've been watching us over the last several years, you would never be put in a situation where you're using a stud with hot blood. It just wouldn't happen. But again, I could only try and educate. Everybody's free to do what they want to do with their money and with their camp. I can't stop them. Let's see. Insurata says you can register your dog's DNA with UKC and other registries. UKC, it will show the dog as DNA P. Yeah, but that's for DNA P is DNA parental. It's for a parentage test to show if that's really the right parent. Yeah, to see if he's the right stud and whatnot. So yeah. I see what you mean, Insurata, but here's the deal. One. I could do DNA P through UKC and then change the studs and do an embark with another dog and show that dog's DNA test. And you want to know. So the best way to do it
isn't DNA.
The best way to do it is through third party, meaning you have to take your embark test without opening it or have it shipped to the vet, somebody who's licensed, somebody who could get sued if they figure out this is the wrong dog, right? And they need a third party verify that this is the dog. Otherwise, without
bring your registration for the dog, bring your embark test, and then have a licensed veterinarian administrator.
See, what if you use them as almost like a notary, and it's, as long as you bring your dog to that vet and somebody else can be a witness to know that this is the dog, they test themselves and send it off from the vet's office.
That's definitely the way to do it. I thought that DNAP was I thought that was for like if you have a dog that you don't have registration for, you don't have papers, like you buy some $100 pit bull in the street and you want to know if it's full blooded, you could have a parentage test. Isn't that how that works?
No, that DNAP is for the dogs that have submitted their because you could actually request for ABKC to send you the DNA parentage test. I remember back in the day, it was like $50. I haven't looked at it lately. And you basically swab your dog and you send it in, and then it shows that the dog has been DNA profiled. Eder says, great info. I embark all my dogs and embark any stud I use. I just realized that one of my females is barely inside the box to the right on chromosome 18. Is that bad? No, it's actually good. Inside the box, inside that green box on chromosome 18, that is LRP5. Look up LRP5.
It's just if you're on the, is it the left side of that box that you don't want?
Outside of the box over here is what you don't want.
Yes.
Inside of the box, you could be to the left, to the right, it don't matter. LRP5 acts as a co-receptor in the WNT pathway essential for osteoblast differentiation and bone density maintenance. There you have it, bro. Clear as day. Chromosome 18 and its brother, chromosome 27, or not brother, but LRP6 is the brother of LRP5, which functions similarly, and it is in chromosome 27. So if you have homozygosity here and here, it can be a good thing. Got it? Dupree says they got to learn, Raul. This education side of things is just like breeding process, slow and tedious. Yes, and not an overnight thing. This is, guys, I'm learning it. Let me put it that way. I'm no expert by any means. Like I said, I've reached out to scholars so they can see if I've screwed up anywhere. I can tell you I cross-referenced every one of these spots with 3 different universities that are actually studying canine genetics. And that was very.
We talked about all this. We talked about all this. You know, this. We believe that this is the future, and so now the legwork begins. You know, we're doing all we can to figure all this out, and that way.
But wouldn't you, like you said, wouldn't you want to be one of those breeders that is on the cutting edge of things that's using this? So all the other ones that aren't using this, you're light years ahead of them. Absolutely. It really does pay to put the time in for the tedious work to get to that point. It really does.
This is correct, man, and that's why I'm doing it, because I love what I'm doing. I mean, I love this stuff. It's tedious work, and while you're doing it, it's a pain in the rear end because the verification process is not easy. But once you put the map together and you're able to put it, superimpose it with your dog's DNA, I mean, it's pretty freaking cool. And, to be honest with you, the muscular system, I believe, is a little bit less. The joint, I have no idea. The joints, cartilage, ligaments, that's going to be big, because you could have all the big bone you got. If you're lacking in joints, you're going to have a train wreck of a dog.
When you say less, you mean less tedious? The muscle should be less tedious?
It should be, because I believe there's less markers. But again, dude, once I jump in that rabbit hole, I'll let you know when I'm down there. Right? Yeah, man. So listen, I ain't going to, I know it's December 23rd. We've had you guys up long enough. Definitely, I'm going to go ahead and put this on the app once we get off of here. You guys could get it there. You could superimpose. You could see what it looks like with your dog's embark result. If you haven't embarked, make sure you do. Also, real quick, if you have not ordered New Vet and New Joint DS, now's the time to do it. Check it out, man. Things such as phosphorus, potassium, zinc, calcium, selenium. Calcium actually activates genes that actually make your bones dense when you want to have that on your side. Now, I haven't done it yet, but I can pretty much put some money that things like glucosamine sulfate, chondroitin sulfate, and MSM, along with vitamin C, are probably going to help activate a lot of those genes that got to do with joints as well. Wouldn't you want to be doing that, especially if you have a dog that's boned up? So just keeping it real with you guys. If you haven't done it yet, Kyle, do me a favor. Throw the hold on a second. Where did Mike go? There you go. If you haven't done it yet, make sure to order New Vet, New Joint DS. Put my ordering code on there so they could see it. My ordering code is 513237. You get 13% off with auto ship. So you got to excuse me. I'm a little bit under the weather with my throat. You get 13% with auto ship. And I'm probably going to do it tomorrow, 24th, right? Christmas Eve. We are actually going to be doing a raffle. If you win the raffle, I'm going to go ahead and give you New Vet for an entire year. Just keep in mind that green bottle comes for a 90-day supply. The blue bottle, which I recommend you get the DS, comes with 180 wafers, but it is completely weight-based. And the change that I've seen ever since I've been giving this to my dogs has been night and day. And now we're figuring out it's not just the vitamins, it's not just the minerals, it's also the ways that it could actually activate genes that are beneficial for your dogs. Anything else you guys want to add?
I said, just remember, you have to have the green bottle. You can't just go buy the blue bottle or the green bottle. If you get one, get the green first. That's your base vitamin. And the blue bottle is for the joint support, but you have to have the green. A lot of people forget that, and they just, I'm going to get the blue one, and I'll get the green one next time. No, get the green one first.
You got to have both.
If you can only do one, get the green.
Yeah, but you got to have both with the, to get 13% off auto ship with auto ship. And that will automatically enter you into the raffle, right? And we do this every single year. Last year, I had to send out, what was it? He had 4 dogs, so I had to send out 16 green bottles. And I think just for good measure, I sent 20 of the blue ones, because it's weight-based and whatnot. So we'll do it again. Miss Christina says Michael Higginson has been giving new vet out for Christmas presents to grandpups and friends' dogs. Good man, Michael Higginson. Number love for you, man. Feliz Navidad, says EJ.
By the way, order code is this.
Yeah, there you go. Guys, is there any last questions you got?
I want to say one more thing. I did not realize EBKC is Echo.
Oh yeah, I saw in his comment that he
I'm about to remember that now.
There you go, Echo, ha ha ha, Echo.
He's been on here. I thought he was a new guy, and I couldn't tell if he was trying to stir something up or just be. But now I see he was asking a legitimate question.
Trying to stir nothing, so you let him talk, man. Let Echo talk.
Yeah, hey, you're lucky, Echo, because I almost hit that.
If anybody was nervous about getting into the raffle and they thought, well, Michael Higginson and a few others have won every raffle that we've had, worked very hard to do. I'm out of the race, so y'all can have it. y'all, it's up for grabs.
I've been in the race in a long time.
Oh.
Mike, is there any last comments before we jump off tonight, man?
No, man, I just wanted to thank you for all the work that you put in on this, man. I've talked to you a million times this week about it. Like, what do we got? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? And you really have put some boots on the ground with this, man. And I really think it's the future. So I commend you for your work, man.
Well, thank you, bro. And I mean, I appreciate you too, guys. I've been in constant communication with these guys, but more like, guys, did you know what I just found out? XYZ. It's been a good eye opener, man. And I really hope that once I get some of these scholars in and they verify my information, I'm hoping they can shed whatever light if I missed anything and double up on whatever I did right. That way, this community, along with other breeding communities, mind you, let me say this. I forgot to mention this. Other breeding communities, right? The location of certain genes is going to be different for a Great Dane than will, say, an American Bully. Right. Just keep that in mind.
Oh, it is breed specific.
It can be. Some breeds actually have more and some have less pathways. It's not that the pathway doesn't exist. It's just that it'll coincide in the same chromosome in the same area. So it reduces the amount of pathways you've got. Okay. So craziness, man. I mean, I'm learning craziness, bro. All these rules of relation going on at the same time that really make it crazy. For those of you that want to consult, if you have a dog that has embark and you're looking at a stud that has embark or whatever, and you want to make sense out of all this, make sure to hit us up, man. If you're a member of this channel, you get a discount on the consults. If you're not a member, you're going to pay full price. But I am available and I will be starting to make consults on this. and give you what I see based on your dog's genetic maps. All right. So Hollywood, start us up, man.
Yes, sir. It's your boy Hollywood Holland, your boy in the back of the queue, and we're catching you on the next one.
Michael Higginson.
Michael Higginson with Creek Bank Kennel, man, out of Arkansas. Listen, y'all, enjoy your time with your families and your loved one. It's Christmas. We're catching you on the next one.
Guys, nothing but love, man. You know, we do this every Monday at 7 p.m. CST. I also appear on Fridays, man. We just talk dogs, any and everything. Either way, man, I hope we were able to shed some light and some interest for you. And hopefully you'll become a member of this channel and we could have more one-on-one conversations. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather. Either way, it's been Rolf from the queue, catching you on the next one.
People ask me all the time, when do you start your puppies on New Vet and New Joint DS? My response is always the same: as soon as I see them, because not starting